Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are looking at something really incredible, a true story of civic transformation. We're always hearing about the skyrocketing costs of higher education, right? But it's pretty rare to see a local community actually step up and solve that problem from the ground up. In this explainer, we're going to trace the journey of the Colegio ng Lungsod ng Batangas and see exactly how a hyper-focused local government took a pretty bold vision and turned it into a thriving, fully accredited institution.
Okay, let's dive into this. The whole foundation of this institution actually started with a very specific, incredibly ambitious dream from the late mayor Eduardo B. Di Macuja. His goal was straightforward but massive: turn the hope of a college degree into an actual reality for highly intelligent yet economically disadvantaged youth. So back in August 2005, Executive Order Number 26 was signed. And listen, this wasn't just about laying bricks for a new school building. It was really about throwing an absolute educational lifeline to driven students who were quite frankly just priced out of their own futures.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that number right there, 302. After they drafted the charter and secured the necessary permits from the Commission on Higher Education, the college officially opened its doors in June 2006. And in that very first semester, exactly 302 students received a completely free college education. I mean, think about that. This wasn't some slow-rolling, multi-year pilot program that took forever to get off the ground. It was an immediate, massive impact. Those 302 students were the ultimate proof of concept. It proved that if you remove that massive financial barrier, the community will eagerly step up to the plate.
To truly appreciate what they pulled off, we need to look at the sheer speed of their growth. They literally went from a simple city ordinance in 2005 to handing out their very first bachelor's degrees just 5 years later in 2010. But the amazing thing is, they totally refused to plateau there. By 2016, they opened up evening classes specifically for working adults. By 2019, they were rolling out brand new 4-year programs. And then, in 2021, they hit the absolute gold standard: full institutional accreditation from AALCOUKA. That's the Association of Local Colleges and Universities Commission on Accreditation, right alongside their recognition from the Commission on Higher Education. It was just this relentless, high-speed march to quality.
The scale of this evolution gets even clearer when you peek at their academic catalog. Back in 2006, things were pretty humble. They started small, offering just 2 4-year degrees, elementary education and commerce, plus a couple of basic 2-year computer courses. Fast forward to today, the landscape is completely transformed. And they didn't just add classes randomly either. They were highly strategic, expanding into fields like human resource and financial management. They essentially reverse-engineered their curriculum so it would directly feed the evolving demands of the modern local workforce. It's incredibly smart.
But looking at all this rapid, super strategic growth, you kind of have to ask yourself, what actually drives this, right? How does a local city college maintain this kind of relentless momentum year after year without burning out? Well, to understand the how, we really have to dig into the why. We need to look at the underlying philosophy that's fueling this whole operation.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what's under the hood. The engine behind their success really comes down to their 6 core values: excellence, benevolence, dignity, commitment, leadership, and boldness. Now, I know what you're thinking. These sound like standard buzzwords slapped on a college brochure. But here, they actually drive policy. For example, commitment and boldness were on full display back in 2016. That's when they intentionally launched evening classes so local government employees could finally get their business administration degrees while keeping their day jobs.
Let's actually zoom in on one of those values in particular because it's so central: benevolence. The institution defines it as striving to contribute to the greatest benefit of the community through education. And that right there kind of flips the traditional college model on its head. For them, a degree isn't just a golden ticket to personal wealth for the student. It's a literal engine for civic development. They operate on this core belief that by educating just a single individual, you are actively uplifting the entire city.
This deep, deep sense of duty is uniquely woven into the college's culture through their institutional prayer. Now, regardless of an individual's personal background, this prayer basically acts as a shared moral compass for the whole campus. It explicitly calls on the faculty and administration to not only teach the mind, but touch the hearts of students. It's a fascinating way to establish this unifying, campus-wide culture of humility, service, and profound social responsibility without ever taking a divisive stance.
Let's move to and see how this builds into real-world opportunities today. What does this mission-driven approach actually look like in practice? Well, it looks like an absolute powerhouse of career-ready degrees.
Today, Batangueño youth can step onto campus and choose from a really comprehensive ecosystem of programs. We're talking Bachelor of Elementary, Physical, and Livelihood Education, alongside rigorous Bachelor of Science programs in Accountancy and Business Administration, plus their Diploma and Teaching program. They've purposefully built this academic pipeline designed to produce highly skilled, competitive citizens ready to hit the ground running.
But as you can imagine, delivering all these complex programs requires some serious modern infrastructure. Remember, this is a school that started with just 302 students. Today, they are operating a massive digital campus. They built out dedicated portals for admissions, alumni, human resources, and even connected to national student financial aid systems like Unifost. To give you a real sense of their digital footprint, this platform now boasts over 1.7 million total page views. So they haven't just modernized their classrooms, they've completely modernized their entire civic operation.
Which brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. We've just watched how a single city identified a very real local problem and totally solved it through dedicated governance and unyielding core values. So if the city of Batangas can successfully democratize higher education and make it a tangible reality for its disadvantaged youth, how could this exact blueprint transform other communities globally? It's definitely something to chew on. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it sparks some new ideas about the educational frameworks right in your own backyard.